Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are really getting into it, plunging deep into Squid Game Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
You've likely seen it, maybe even obsessed over it like we have. And you're probably thinking, what was really going on there?
Yeah, there's a lot under the surface.
Exactly. So our mission today is to pull back that curtain, unpack the plot, the characters, the themes, the symbolism, everything that makes this season tick.
Right.
We are covering all 7 episodes, start to finish, so just a heads up. Major spoilers ahead. If you're ready, let's go.
And, we've really tried to get a comprehensive handle on the whole season story here.
Right.
It dropped all at once, December 26, 2024. Hwang Dong-hook back at the helm, obviously.
Of course.
And we see our key players return: Lee Jung-jae as Gil-hun, Lee Byung-hun as the front man, Wee Ha-jun as Jun-ho the detective, and Gong-yu the recruiter.
Can't forget him.
Definitely not. But the new cast members, like T.O.P., Park Sung-hoon, and others, they really shake things up. Their characters bring in these very current societal issues. That's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Because this season, right from the start, it just feels different. Episode 1, Gi-hoon, 3 years later, that red hair. It's a statement. What's the immediate vibe shift?
Oh, it's huge. Episode 1, red hair. You see Gi-hoon just consumed by the guilt, the trauma from season 1. But instead of running away, like getting on that flight to the U.S.
Right, which he almost does.
He cancels it.
Yeah.
And he decides, no, I'm going after them. He actually tracks down the salesman, Gong-yu's character, and kidnaps him.
Whoa, okay.
To get back into the games. But this time as a mole, not as a player.
So completely flipping the script on his role.
Exactly. It signals his massive shift, from just trying to survive to actively trying to take the system down. That red hair feels like defiance.
It really does. Okay, so Gi-hoon's undercover. Then the show pulls this perspective shift in episode 2, The Front Man. We get this deep dive into Hwang and Ho. What's going on there?
Yeah, this is fascinating. We see him dealing with problems inside the organization, like dissent among the workers. But the big thing is we find out how he became the front man.
Ah, the backstory.
His backstory, yeah.
Yeah.
He won a previous game. It adds all these layers to him. And then the bombshell. His brother, Detective Jin-ho.
The one we all thought was dead?
He's alive, and he's also undercover inside the games.
No way. Wow.
Right. It just immediately sets up this intense personal conflict right at the heart of the whole operation. That brother versus brother dynamic is back big time.
Okay, so we have Gi-hoon and Jun-ho both inside, working against the system. Then the show brings in the new blood and new players. Who stands out?
Well, episode 3 introduces this whole new group, and their reasons for joining are very telling. Very 2024, you could say.
Like what?
There's Hyungju, player 120. She's a trans woman, and her backstory is just heartbreaking discrimination, abandonment.
Wow.
Then you have Young Sik, played by T.O.P.
Yeah.
He's a crypto grifter, basically ruined by the market crash, deep in debt.
Okay, very current.
Very. And Jung-ja,
Yeah.
an elderly woman with a terminal illness facing huge medical bills. And Kang No-il, a young schoolgirl trying to escape horrific bullying.
So it's not just dead anymore. It's reflecting these broader societal failures.
Exactly. Medical debt, crypto collapse, identity struggles, elder neglect, bullying. It's much more complex. And their first game, Cat's Cradle. Deceptively simple, but instantly lethal. Sets a very grim tone.
And the games just keep escalating, don't they? Divide brings back tug of war, but nastier.
Oh, yeah. Electrified ropes this time. Losers fall onto spikes. It's brutal.
Jeez.
And Gene is in the middle of this, undercover, trying to build alliances without blowing his cover or compromising his new moral code.
And the VIPs are back too, right? Watching it all.
They are. Then in Sacrifices, we get Goose Goose Duck, but with live explosives. Basically a minefield game.
Oh my god.
And this is where Gyunja, the elderly woman, makes this incredibly moving sacrifice to save others. It's powerful stuff. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is desperately trying to smuggle out evidence. You can feel it all building.
It really is. Which leads us to episode 6, brother. The confrontation we were waiting for.
Jun-ho finally confronts In-ho. It's raw. They confirm they're brothers, obviously, but it explodes into this argument about the games, about power, choice, morality.
Does it shake In-ho?
You can see it does.
Yeah.
He starts to show cracks, like maybe he's questioning the whole thing for the first time, really questioning it because of Jun-ho. But then tragedy strikes again in the same episode.
Oh, no.
Gongguju, player 120, she's killed. Betrayed by Young Sik, the crypto guy.
That's devastating. Especially for Gi-hoon, right?
Absolutely. It hits Gi-hoon hard, really hard. And it just cements his determination.
So that sets up the finale. Last bet. The final game is Squid Game itself, just like season 1.
Yep, Gi-hoon versus Young-sik, and Gi-hoon wins. But then, he makes this choice.
He doesn't kill him.
He doesn't kill him. He spares Young-sik. It's this huge act of defiance against the game's logic. But doing that, it blows his cover completely.
So he gets captured.
He gets captured. But then, in another twist, In-ho, the front man, lets him go. He lets Gi-hoon escape.
Wow. A betrayal of the system from the inside.
A massive betrayal. It's the start of his potential redemption, maybe? Sets up so much.
Just when you think it's over. That post-credit scene.
The Cate Blanchett scene.
In New York, recruiting American players.
Yep. It's a jaw-dropper. It basically confirms the games aren't just a Korean thing, they're global.
Which just raises the stakes astronomically for season 3.
Absolutely. The scale just exploded.
Okay, so we've walked through the plot. But let's talk about what this all does to the characters. Their arcs this season feel really significant. Gi-hoon first. How does he change from season 1's ending?
Well, Gi-hoon, player 456, he transforms, really. He starts season 2 drowning in guilt, trauma, but he channels it. He becomes this moral anchor, almost, refusing to kill Young-sik, refusing to betray people, even when undercover.
He finds a different way to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He realizes winning isn't about survival at any cost. It's about resisting the dehumanizing nature of the games. By the end, he's basically a symbol of rebellion.
And the front man, In-ho. We learned so much more about him.
We really did. Diving into his past, seeing him as a winner who then, somehow, chose to run the games. It makes him so much more complex than just a villain.
He seems genuinely torn, especially with Junho back in the picture.
Total torn. Between his duty, this rigid system he upholds, and his brother, letting Gi-hoon escape at the end, that feels like a breaking point for him. It opens the door for, maybe, redemption in season 3.
What about Junho? His return was huge. What's his role this season?
Junho is just relentless. He represents justice, the law, trying to expose this massive crime, even when the system seems impossible to fight.
And his confrontations with In-ho are key.
They're central. It's not just brothers arguing, it's ideology clashing. Is there any free will in this horrific system? Junho forces In-ho and us to confront that.
Let's talk about the new players again, especially Hongju. She really resonated with people.
Oh, absolutely. Hongju, player 120, her story was incredibly powerful, dealing with discrimination, violence, abandonment. She represented so many marginalized people.
Her death felt particularly cruel.
It was brutal. And Young-sik's betrayal just highlights the depths of selfishness the games encourage. But her death really fuels Gi-hoon. It makes his fight personal in a new way.
And Young-sik, the crypto bro, what does he represent?
He's kind of pure modern greed, isn't he? Narcissism, scamming people. But the fact that Gi-hoon defeats him but doesn't kill him is crucial.
It shows Gi-hoon hasn't become like them.
Precisely. He maintains his humanity. He won't become a monster to fight monsters.
So, pulling back a bit, what are the big ideas, the major themes season 2 is wrestling with?
Well, building on what we've discussed, there's a huge theme of revenge versus redemption. Gi-hoon actively chooses the path of redemption, wanting to dismantle the system, not just get personal revenge.
And In-ho and Junho are caught up in that too.
Definitely. Their conflict is deeply tied to that. Then there's the whole global capitalism angle.
Yeah.
The post-credit scene blows that wide open.
Right, it's not just a weird isolated event in Korea anymore.
No, it implies this kind of desperate competition is, well, maybe a symptom of something global, that the pressures driving people into the games exist everywhere.
And the new players' backstories really tie into that, reflecting specific modern issues.
Yeah, which brings up the theme of marginalized voices. Yoonju's story, bringing in LGBTQ plus issues, which is still pretty rare for a huge Korean drama.
That felt significant.
It did. And the others, creeplo victims, medical debt, elder abuse, it shows the games feeding on very contemporary forms of desperation. And finally, power and surveillance. That's always there in Squid Game, but maybe even more intense now. Constant monitoring, the masked hierarchy.
It mirrors that feeling of unseen forces controlling things.
Exactly. That lack of transparency, institutional control, it feels very relevant.
So the ending.
Yeah.
It completely reframes what winning means for Gi-hoon. It's not about the prize money.
Not at all. He doesn't escape with cash. He exposes himself. He's all in on stopping the games now. His win is choosing to fight.
And In-ho letting him go. That's the crack in the foundation.
It really is. It suggests the rebellion might come from both the outside and the inside now. And then, yeah, the Cate Blanchett scene just throws gasoline on the fire for season 3. Global games. Much bigger scale.
So, Zero 3, Netflix confirmed it's the final part of the trilogy coming in 2025.
That's the plan.
What are we expecting? What needs to happen?
Well, you'd have to think Gi-hun will be leading some kind of organized resistance, right?
Yeah.
Not just acting alone.
Makes sense.
And with the global reveal, we'll probably see games happening elsewhere, maybe in the US or other countries shown.
A truly international scope.
Yeah. And ultimately, it has to lead to a final showdown. Gi-hun versus whoever is really behind it all.
Yeah.
The ultimate creators.
That was a serious deep dive.
Yeah. It really sounds like season 2, it shifted gears, didn't it? Maybe less of that constant visceral shock of the games themselves.
Right. Fewer games maybe, but deeper dives.
And more focus on the characters' emotional journeys, the internal conflicts, and a much broader critique of the system itself. It felt, more mature, maybe.
I think so. Richer character work, expanding the world, digging into the why behind it all. Some might miss the relentless pace of Season 1's games.
Sure, that initial adrenaline rush.
Yeah, but this season really felt necessary to set up a truly epic and meaningful conclusion in Season 3. It laid crucial groundwork. So, for you listening, thinking about this global expansion, if the Squid Game isn't just one place, if it can pop up anywhere, what does that really say about the kinds of pressures, economics, socials, that push people to such extremes all over the world? And against a system like that, a global network profiting from despair, what would resistance even look like? How could you possibly fight back? Something to think about.